Hi, and welcome to another review. I'm Lene Willis, licensed therapist in Maryland, Ohio, and West Virginia, and I am reviewing Love is Blind, episode 3 and 4.
I wanna get to your clothes, gotta get it right now. I wanna push all the limits with you right now. So watch your feelings, the city's screaming when I come in.
Here's my feedback. I don't really have a lot of first impressions because the majority of the first impressions were in episodes 1 and episodes 2. So let's go ahead and just jump into the feedback for episode 3. So I want to be wrong about this, but the episode opened up with Johnny meeting Amy, and he seemed like he may have been a little prickish. And the reason why I'm saying so is because there was like a micro expression of sorts, but it could have been just nerves. A micro expression is like a really quick catch of body language that expresses how you might be feeling at the time. And that prickishness that I saw in that micro expression really could have just been, like I said, nerves. All that aside, I think Johnny and Amy make the cutest couple, and I hope their cultural differences don't move them apart. I don't know how much they spoke about to determine if they were really a good fit for each other, but from what we saw, I didn't really get a sense that they dove into a lot of those cultural differences, but we'll see. Their reaction during the meetup is everything that you'd hope for when walking into a new relationship with your fiance, with the hopes of marrying them after falling in love with them sight unseen. I mean, what a whirlwind, right? I guess next I would go into the scene where Jamal and Clay were talking about just how intense the situation is, how emotional they've gotten. Clay being very open and sharing that he hadn't really shed a lot of his emotions, which was something that was very evident in episodes 1 and 2. I think I said it. But jumping forward, I think that conversation with Clay and Jamal, I think it allowed Clay to feel like he might be able to share a bit more with AD. And going into that next scene, AD came into still again being really honest. And Clay, I appreciate him coming in. He was apologizing, taking full responsibility for his reaction to AD because he was yelling. And AD reminded him of that. And I appreciated that she remained honest, like I said, about Clay's interest in her looks. And that kind of dipped into her worst fears. So I really felt like, according to the expectations of Love is Blind, that AD kept Clay's foot to the fire, so to speak, to make sure that they weren't venturing into that looks department because she really wanted to make sure that they fell in love with each other based on what they learned about each other in the past. I would also like to add that people need to feel both emotionally and physically safe in a relationship. So, with that said, I think AD was trying to confirm the emotional stability and the emotional safety in their relationship. And as for Chelsea, who says she looks like Megan Fox, y'all, she says she looked like Megan Fox. Chelsea is not bad looking. I don't want to say she's bad looking, but I feel like when she communicated that to Jimmy, when I talk about the physical safety, I think that then made Jimmy felt emotionally, or not emotionally. I think that made Jimmy felt physically safe in the relationship with her. But again, the entire purpose of Love is Blind is getting to know the person without having any idea of what they look like. And her saying, "Oh, I got dark hair and I got light eyes. People say that they take me for, I don't really want to say." She said all of that. Of course, Jimmy's like, "Well, who? Tell me, who? Tell me." And she said, "Megan Fox." Yeah, I almost fell to the floor. But whatever. I think Chelsea's hope and inkling for love, considering the expression that I gave in episode 2 with like the door and love knocking on the door type of thing, Chelsea's door is like hanging open to love. It is not closed. In my impression, from what I've been seeing and what showed in the episode so far, she becomes overwhelmed with the expectation and anticipation of love, even remotely approaching her door. Is it a bad thing? Yes, but only because people could take advantage of that. And Chelsea, she comes off again as very like sweet and well-intentioned. So I like to believe that she's not really trying to put herself out there in a physical sense, But I also feel like she felt like she was in competition with Jessica and she needed to stay and do things to demonstrate that she was a superior choice. So jumping into episode 4, Jeremy. Yeah, his name cracks me up. He is sexually interested in Sarah Ann. Like, for real, for real. This is interesting. I think he connects more internally, though, with Laura. But I'm not really sure if Jeremy is interested in Laura. He says he is, and that he's been thinking about her, but his demeanor is giving something else. Like, first of all, I couldn't really read his expression because if you remember that scene, he was like sitting on the couch and his head was like laid back. So I couldn't see his face as much. And to me, his face would kind of like give everything away. And I didn't really have a good opportunity to see his face. I really would have wanted to provide some feedback on that. But we'll see as the episodes unfold. Going back into AD and Clay, AD affirms her connection and journey with Clay without directly asking him. And it is really that's a skill, right? To be able to affirm your partner and to get affirmations without saying, "You like me? You think I'm cute? You think like my lashes are fly today?" Like sometimes I feel like women and men, we have to coax our partners into getting feedback from them. And AD does a really good job of getting that through affirming Clay first, which allows him to then affirm her in return. And I believe that Clay feels a bit comfortable with AD, so he can do so without feeling like he is going to come into any issues or whatever. He is also open to sharing what he has experienced as well. And that's what allows him to have really good banter. And the way that Clay expressed his love and process with AD, it just kind of seems so precious in that moment. I still low-key feel like Clay gives me player vibes. I don't know why I still see it. But we'll see what happens. And then moving forward, she said being chosen by Ken. I was like, girl, who's Ken? Then I remember she was talking about Kenneth. First of all, girl, you had me so confused. And Kenneth, poor Kenneth, he was shaking his boots when he came out with that ring when he was meeting up. I don't even remember her name. But seriously, he also mentioned that he never did it outside of his race. So the moment he said, I was like, ding, 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 this might be a little bit of an issue. Because I don't know how much of that they delved into in the pods. They both had an idea of the other person's race because of some of the conversations, right, that they had. However, it didn't really seem to me that they spoke about how the difference in race would play into their relationship. So we shall see how that goes. I am just kind of like looking to see what happens with that relationship. Now, jumping on to Trevor and Chelsea. I feel like Trevor and Chelsea, they fit better together based on what was presented. I do think that Chelsea goes back and forth between Jimmy and Trevor, and Jimmy is slightly in the lead. I feel like Chelsea favors Jimmy, but I feel like Trevor is a better option for her. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Jimmy seems to he continues to demonstrate that he is who he is, old school, traditional, loyal. And I hope that this remains the case. However, in episode 4, I keep saying season, in episode 4, Jimmy seems less interested in Jessica. And the reason why is because Chelsea put a seed, she put that little mustard seed of thoughts and inkling that she looks like Megan Fox. And so now Jimmy cannot unhear that information. And I don't care what anybody say, I believe that Jimmy switched things up between who was in the race between Jessica and Chelsea in his mind because of the statement that Chelsea made. And when he sees Chelsea, that's all I'm gonna say. Chelsea, bless your heart. Alrighty. Now, the last couple of scenes was with Jimmy and Chelsea and her friends coming over and saying, Jessica, I think you should leave this process. First of all, let her have the closure that she needs. I strongly believe that if Jessica had left without having a closer conversation with Jimmy, she would have felt like things were not quite buttoned up. As women, we can't be afraid, and as men, we can't be afraid about being hurt, right? The whole point of this process is that you put yourself in a position and you're risking it all for love. And yes, you might get hurt, but to leave in the middle of that process would really just kind of like, it's like waking you up from the middle of a dream that you were trying to finish. It's just not fair to yourself and it's not fair to anyone. And I'm glad that Jessica, like a true Capricorn, stuck the situation out and had her conversation. Now, do I feel that she went overboard with her conversation and the attitude and the swerving of her neck and all of that stuff? Yes. But if you listen to the content of a lot of the stuff that she said, she was not expecting a whole lot from Jimmy. She was not. She was in a process. She asked him how he felt after she had divulged all this information. Now, I believe that had Jimmy not had that conversation with Chelsea about Chelsea looking like Megan Fox, he would have been able to communicate to Jessica what she needed to hear. Yes, I like you. Yes, I feel strongly towards you. Yes, I even love you. I might be nervous about communicating that, but you're the one I want to be with. I strongly believe, and no one can convince me differently, that Jimmy was going to be with Jessica until he had an inkling that Chelsea looked like Megan Fox. So, yes, she asked for directness and she said, all I need you to give me is an ounce of directness. She had never said to him, I need you to apologize or anything asinine like that. She just asked for what she felt like she was due. And she was deserving of directness from him because she was very direct with him. And I think Jessica walked away believing that Jimmy could not handle her because she was direct. But I really believe that again, if Chelsea, because you think about the timeline of how everything is happening, the dates that Jimmy's having with Jessica alongside the dates that he's having with Chelsea. Chelsea communicated to Jimmy that she looked like Megan Fox before that second to last conversation that Jessica and Jimmy had when he couldn't convey to Jessica how he truly felt about her. Okay? Okay? That part. So yes, she spazzed in the end and Jimmy is going to be sorely disappointed, and Jessica should not have said all of this, but she did. I'm not mad at her, but I also want to be like, Jessica, turn down a little bit. The notch is like a 1,000 needs to be back somewhere like around 80, something like that. Jessica, I see you, and I hope you don't let the situation define who you are. Perhaps if you said you look like Megan Fox, y'all be married now. So, but I appreciate you also honoring the point of this entire show, which is to learn about each other sight unseen. And I think you held true to that even up to the very end, even though you put a little bit of an inkling that you look better than Chelsea. I ain't mad at you, girl. That's confidence. Do it. And I think the way that you did it isn't, you didn't like bring Chelsea down. Like you didn't make her out to be some, wretched looking girl or anything like that. Y'all, I be sweating on my nose. You know what they say when you sweat like that? They say that you're in love. No, I just think I have a physiological issue, okay? People be lying. People be making up all kind of stuff. But anyhow, we'll see what happens as far as my therapist feedback. What am I doing air quotes? I am a therapist. I'm tripping. It is important for there to be sexual tension in a relationship, such as expected, right? With Love is Blind. And yes, but the issue here is that there needs to be something deeper going on in the interactions as well. Because once you see the person, if that deeper part does not fully connect, you would still be longing for that physical attraction, chemistry vibe that you just get with certain people. And sometimes you see some people together and you're like, how he pull her or how she pull him. And sometimes it's really just about that connection. So we, as outside looking into people's relationship, we can't really judge the interactions that people have with one another because we don't really know, right? We're just on the outside looking in. There's also something about someone who uses your name when they speak with you that makes you feel seen, heard, and understood. Listen, affirm me, baby. The affirmations go both ways. And I felt that even more so with Clay, the way he kept saying AD, AD. I was like, yes, Clay. And he wasn't even talking to me. Babe, I don't want Clay. I only want you. Just make sure that's clear. Anyhow, when affirming goes both ways, it helps each person feels wanted, right? Emotionally, physically, and otherwise. And when I counsel couples, this is what I search for. If you truly and deeply love one another, still, let's get after the strategies and repair your relationship. But when I don't see that couples really have that je ne sais quoi, right? It's an uphill battle. And it's really hard to get the couple to connect because they really just don't want to. I can dive deeper into that, talk about the four horsemen of the apocalypse according to Gottman, and how things like contempt, the defensiveness, and things like that, how that could impact a marriage, really, really pulling apart the connection that is needed, where fondness and admiration for your partner grows. You really want to work on intimacy and not just a sexual intimacy, although one of the first things I assign to my couples when I see them, when I see that there's a lot of disconnect, I tell them to have sex. And the reason why I say that is because to be sexual with someone, there has to be some level of defense that's completely withdrawn from you, right? I was talking to my client about this the other day. We were talking about how even if a woman is, okay, this is about to get really, even if a woman is straddling a guy and she is on top, she is still opening up herself to him, right? So even though she might be in control in the sense that she's on the top, she's still opening up herself to him. And he is still driving, so to speak, the course of their sexual interaction. And so that interaction helps with building the intimacy. I could go deeper into that, but this is not the conversation for that. So let's get all the way back. Now, another thing I really wanted to point out was interracial dating. I am not an expert on interracial dating, but I have dabbled. If race issues inform others on who you are, then it is imperative to have those conversations with whomever it is that you're dating that is outside of your race so that you and that person can connect on those issues. Okay? And let me repeat it. If race issues inform others on who you are, those issues need to be discussed with your partner, and you all have to have like minds on those issues. If you have a difference, right, when it comes to those issues, the relationship is most likely not going to work because of that, or there will be some distance that will grow and fester in your relationship, hopefully in your marriage, if you guys take it to that point, and it could impact the relationship. Now, I mentioned I'm not an expert, and I said that I have dabbled. Yes, in my experience with dating outside of my race, I dated a European white guy. He was a great guy. Hey, like, I hope you're watching my stuff. You cool. That's not the reason why he and I broke up. I made sure from the very beginning that a lot of the things that informed who I was as a Caribbean Black presenting woman with very Black facial features, whose mama is half Hispanic and half Indian, but Black presenting in a lot of the sense. It was just, I felt like I needed him to thoroughly understand who I was, and he did. And it worked. But that's not why we broke up. We broke up for religious reasons, yeah. Anyways, but anyhow, moving forward, when you're in a relationship, it's important to know how to communicate your feelings to your partner. So don't feel alone in your feelings. Jamie shared this with Megan Fox. My bad. I meant Chelsea. And he told her that he loves her, but my gut is saying that he does not really. I think a lot of those feelings that he was having and growing with Jessica, not saying that he didn't have any feelings for Chelsea. I absolutely believe that he did have feelings for Chelsea, but I really feel like Chelsea was just a runner up. Okay. But I think a lot of those feelings that he had for Jessica, he kind of transferred into his relationship with Chelsea or Megan Fox. And that put him over the finish line to communicate to her that he then loves her. I do not think that Chelsea is a better fit for him than Jessica, but we shall see. On that note, my confirmed matches for episodes 3 and 4 are Kenneth and Brittany. Brittany, yes, that's what her name is. Brittany, talk about Ken. Girl, they look so cute together. I don't think that they will work, but these are the confirmed matches. Kenneth and Brittany, Clay and AD. I feel like they're gonna have some issues, especially in relation to his ego. And I don't know how much patience that AD is gonna have for that. And then I'm saying Jimmy and Jessica, even though I know Jessica is like, she's done with the situation, but I'm only saying that because I think that she's better for him. But I obviously it seems like Jimmy is going to be choosing Chelsea. And this episode 4 ended with him going in to propose to her, and Trevor was going into his part to propose to Chelsea as well. And Chelsea was standing in the middle of the hall, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Girl, you should have not said anything to Jimmy, and you should have had Jimmy choose you for who you are. And I hope you don't regret it. And I'm gonna put my finger away because I'm not her mom. But that's it. And that's all. All right, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you listening to all of my feedback. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to drop it down in the description or in the comments down below. And I will put the timestamps and everything there so that you can be caught up to speed on what's going on. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.